The Church of God, a necessary cleansing and awakening. When I realized I had to make this video, I struggled for a long time and delayed it for several days. I knew that once this message was released, I would face criticism and accusations because what I had to say was not something most people liked or wanted to hear. I often feel I am like someone popping a balloon with a needle or lifting the lid off a cesspit. Right now, the world, especially the United States, is awakening from a prolonged period of deception and numbness. Some people are panicked, regretful and angry. Others fear being deceived again. Some are excited and joyful, believing that long-awaited justice has finally arrived and that better days are ahead. However, I want to point out that neither of these mindsets is correct. What we must address first, before anything else, is the cleansing and rebuilding of the church, the renewal of church leaders and ministers, the self-examination of Christians, the recommitment of Jesus' disciples, a call to self-examination for churches and Christians in the US, China and Taiwan. If we do not step forward now to examine ourselves and speak the truth according to the Bible, we will not only miss this divine opportunity, still, we may also bring great destruction upon ourselves. Over the past 40 to 60 years, God has given great grace and opportunities to these three nations, allowing them to prosper economically and maintain social stability. However, just like in the Old Testament, where the Israelites turned away from God when they became prosperous, these nations and their churches have also forgotten Him. They have rebelled against God's covenant, worshipped foreign idols, allowed injustice and lawlessness, defiled the temple, and followed worldly ways, indulged in sinful pleasures. What we are experiencing now is simply a repetition of history, committing the same sins in various times and places. God's judgment begins in His house. God has answered the prayers of many and allowed Trump to return to the White House. However, do not think that just because he is exposing corruption and inefficiencies, saving the country money, and firing incompetent officials, we can now live comfortably. A few days ago, while driving, I heard the Holy Spirit say, "I am about to act, starting with my house." Immediately, I felt in my spirit that God had already given us countless opportunities. He has allowed a few significant scandal events to occur within the church to serve as warnings. Yet many churches, big ones, continue in their ways. Pastors who own private jets and accumulate great wealth, transferring amounts to their family members, are the ones God will deal with severely. He requires them to publicly confess their sins, renounce their titles and wealth, expose their hidden wrongdoings to receive His forgiveness. God will use them as examples to discipline His people. A spiritual reckoning is coming. We must reflect. When the Holy Spirit moves within the government, He uses Trump and Elon Musk to bring about reform and expose hidden conspiracies. Many people lost their jobs, wealth, and reputation. When the Holy Spirit moves within the church, how many Ananias and Sapphira will perish? If we continue to resist the Holy Spirit's warnings with hardened hearts, we will soon witness events from the book of Acts happening in our gatherings. Many Christians sing and pray, asking the Holy Spirit to fill them and move among them. But are we truly ready? If He comes, how many will still be standing, and how many will be lying on the ground? A warning from the Holy Spirit. I'm not trying to scare you or myself, but I have heard the Holy Spirit's warning and I must share it. As we watch the White House and government agencies undergo dramatic changes, God is reminding us to cleanse and restore our churches and our lives. the nation and the church are inseparable. When the government goes astray, it is because the church has failed to fulfill its role. If the church and God's people do not return to His foundation, no matter how effective the government is, it cannot change society's moral decay. If President Trump is unafraid and unashamed to expose the corruption, greed, and deception within his government, shouldn't we, as God's people, be even more committed to cleansing our own house and setting our hearts in order?